of God indeed. I couldn't do it. A silly task that was looked at more of a joke for reaching this milestone in my YouTube career turned into a never-ending existential nightmare. A little over a month ago, I decided to put this poll up, and it drastically changed the trajectory of my life for the worse. I started excited because I have watched shows recently, and even in my past, that have hours upon hours of content to parcel through. However, I forgot to account for one thing that would greatly impact my ability to binge this material. It, unironically, is the plot. Oni Chi Chi has such a loose grasp of reality and no strict guidelines that it makes the experience of trying to watch more than 3 episodes of this feel like a constant dissociative state of nothingness and agony. For the uninitiated, let me get my intro out of the way. What's up, guys? I'm at 47 and welcome to Watch Plus. Grab my cards, got me away. So Oni Chi Chi is such a bland, sanitized, and predictable piece of media that I was unable to finish it. Unfortunately. I know. I hear the boos now, but it's just true. It was so bad that in the month I was on my mini hiatus, for lack of better words, I made 2 whole ass reviews on my phone about content that had 2 to 4 hours of media each, and I literally finished 2 whole animes, them being named Dorohedoro and Death Note. Clearly my priorities were elsewhere. However, I decided to pick up Oni Chi Chi back again, and I binged about 6 more episodes until I came to the conclusion that this is basically like Criminal Minds for 4chan bros. For the first time on this channel, an anime beat me. Now, with that lengthy, totally unnecessary preamble out of the way, let's try and unpack what this show had. 18 episodes, about 30 minutes each, which should scare off about like 80% of you already if you're even going to attempt to watch this entire series. And honestly, I wouldn't blame you because this is just torture at this point. There are 2 different timelines, or universes you could call it, with the same power dynamics, same personalities, same stakes, literally the same everything except one universe has a mom and it's a reskins here and there. Basically same song and dance. These 2 are different characters, by the way. Let's start with the one universe that makes a bit more sense, albeit in comparison to the other one, which doesn't mean it makes sense at all. It just means the other universe is so absurdly confusing and mind-boggling that in comparison, the plot I'm about to tell you right now makes more sense to watch. We start off with the fatherless, we start with the patriarch of the family, who I shall call Oji-san because that's the name of grandfather in Japanese. And he has 4 daughters at home, 4 daughters. And his goal was to run through all of them like it's some dating simulation, you know, minus the whole consent part there, and break each one of them down. And that's basically it. So the first episode, which should have been a red flag for me already, was massively predictable. First of all, they nip it in the bud right now. His wife is dead. So he's single, alone, and just rapidly Kuma brain, right? They put that on in front of us on a plate, so we can't be surprised when anything else happens. Even though I don't think the next state for missing your wife is constantly berating your own. After we initiate that, the OG-san's like, wow, Carrie, you look just like my wife and your mom. Anyway, moving on, let me go to the bathroom right quick. And lo and behold, he runs into the tsundere type who is just in the nude because she was taking a shower, and then rightfully she's mad, right? Like, why would you walk in on me? Bro, I'm just existing. I'm trying to cleanse my body. You in here invading my space. She starts yelling at him, mad. And then at that moment, OG-san's like, well, he says this classic line here. So, like, what's going on here? Boom, different character. The villain arc begins. That's all it takes? That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Are you serious? We have some really piss poor transitional dialogue basically saying the tsundere girl named Natsumi, who was mad in the shower scene, is now practicing in a swords class, whatever the fuck this is called, fencing class. And then the principal or the club president's like, yeah, man, your daughter is just, she's so mean, bro. Like, she don't take any discipline whatsoever. Like, you should teach her some manners, bro. This is so rude. Oh my God. Which, I mean, I can't, sure, I guess you could tell a parent that if their daughter is beating up other students, but at a certain point, because there's no face that is saying this, it just seems like the father hallucinated all of this and then went about his actions. Because basically what he did after that was he confronted Natsumi and said, hey, I'm gonna teach you what real discipline is like. I've been letting you off the hook. And 10 minutes later, they're done with their own session, right? Of course, without signing a consent form, obviously. I think I'm noticing too is like the reason why this series is so long is because they say the same idea but rephrase it in so many different manners to make it seem like it's escalated, but in reality it's not. Like, for example, if you were to switch up the tone, it would obviously be apparent of how vapid this script truly is. I'm gonna provide a wonderful example to show you my whole case here. I'm going to objectively show you why this show is utter dog shit, trash, bottom of the barrel. Poro failed again. All right, ready? The idea I'm going to repeat is making a smoothie and someone is saying they don't want a smoothie. And here you go. Hey, I'm gonna make a smoothie. You want some? No thanks. Hey, I'm gonna blend vital nutrients for easier consumption. You want some? No. Hey, I'm going to offer you a free beverage that was crafted from the Ninja Foodie Power Blender and Processor System with Smoothie Bowl Maker, Nutrient Extractor, 4-in-1 blender, 1400 watt peak with numerous nutrient-dense consumable items that are not limited to kiwi, strawberries, grapes, cranberries, blueberries, raspberries, celery, carrot, kale, spinach, and lime. Would you like to place a request? No. That took a lot more time than I originally thought it was going to. And because it basically explained the biggest problem with this show, and it was such a vivid allegory, because I'm so good at that, obviously, it's kind of hard to justify explaining more of this plot without seeming like I'm enjoying everything going on here. So we're just gonna move on to the other remaining episodes of this universe and skip whatever happens between, because it's basically just different character, different personality, hilarity ensues, stakes are raised because blah, blah, blah. So now we're at this point now where Haruka, the pink-haired daughter in OG Sun's palace, is out of the picture. I think probably due to budgetary reasons, unironically. They are hinting at she's at college, but that is not fun with me whatsoever. So the main plot is getting to the point where it's starting to become more of a, how do I say this? More of a way to try to get as many categories under this motion picture as possible. Because it starts off in the Revenge series of Oni Chi Chi II, where OG told Natsumi that there was a guy she couldn't see threatening her. And the guy threatening her, let's call him Rambo. Rambo was like, hey, you need to have a close, tight disciplinary relations with your daughter or consequences will happen. And OG Son's like, hey, bro, all right, I'm gonna do it, okay, because you told me to, all right, not because. And Natsumi can't see. She's like, all right, is it good? And OG Son's like, yeah, but we should keep it up anyway. Wonderful. I know, just wonderful already. And after that, OG Son then convinces Natsumi to become Rambo and text Akira and Fuyu as Rambo to OG Son. So when OG Son confronts Fuya and Haruka about the blackmail and the acts they have to do to escape the blackmail, he can just say, look, the text message I got, they told me we have to do this. They told me we have to watch you urinate on a stick and make me drink it. I can't control that. And oh, Jesus Christ, man. I can't. I just can't do this anymore. This is my breaking point. This show is actually breaking me. I'm at the point now where I don't even want to consider consuming anything near this. Not because it's dark, not because it's horrendous, not because it's traumatizing, but because it's so bland and boring and so cursed. Like, you can't have both. No, you can't double dip like that. It speaks more about our society and what we consume and what we like to consume rather than like the quality of Poro, right? Jesus Christ. So let's move on to the main bread and butter of this entire universe, entire plot that takes the concept of OG-san and his entire family and makes it a bit worse. Again, I don't know how they made the plot I just mentioned worse, but somehow they did. So in the second universe, which is like 70% of the episodes in Oni Chi Chi, we have Kozu, who is married into a family that had Ari and Marina, and another sister as well, but she won't get mentioned because she doesn't show up until later episodes, which I refuse to watch. And his whole shtick, which is repeated, reset, and recycled constantly over and over again for every single reiteration, every single series, is, hey, I'm a scientist who's researching an aphrodisiac that can seduce women to instantly giving up their ovaries, which obviously he uses on his newly acquired housemates. Now, the fact that this is his end goal, the fact that this is his prized possession, the fact that he's constantly looking up for research to do this should be a massive red flag to anybody who are associates of him. But hey, you know, logic, forget about that. Poro making sense, forget about that. So remember the trope of breaking down the rebellious tsundere I mentioned literally like 5-6 minutes ago, Well, he does that again. However, it's with only one person, because the other person, Marina, he basically brings her in to the whole loop of the wonderful family bonds by making Marina jealous that he is Bill Cosbying Audie nonstop.
Why so serious?
Wonderful. Now, there is another instance of a couple male threats coming into the story to break the whole power dynamic down and make it seem like Kozu actually cares about his housemates, his new family, but in reality, he doesn't. Like, there was 2 instances where a man would come in while they were at the movie theaters, and there's another instance, Ari, Marina, and Sayaka, I think her friend was, all go to a beach setting and get kidnapped, and then Kozu has to save them, and while he's saving them, he's also trying to... I just can't, you know? The only slightly interesting plot point that this Oni Chi Chi verse had is this one here, and the only reason this is interesting is because everything else just, it isn't anywhere near this like level of thought, I guess. Was Audie was Bill Cosby so hard that she forgot her memory to the point where it basically just reset. And then you got Kozu, Audie, and Marina on some resort vacation. And Marina's like, I have an idea. I'm going to stab Kozu because I'm jealous of Kozu going at it with Audie instead of me. So stabby. And then surprise, surprise, Audie said, wait, I was faking my memory being lost. Don't kill him. The end. Oh, and after that, they go home, and then Kozu's wife is there, and they mention that he doesn't like older women, even though he married. Listen. Does this show having an average of 1.5 million views per episode prove that Poro has a chokehold in this media and they will forever reign supreme? Yes. Oni Chi Chi is their One Piece. I have to get over this. I have to be okay with this, because the more I think about this, the more I realize this mediocre piece of garbage is what people want nowadays. This is what people want. This is what the crowd wants. There's no gory stuff. There's no actual plot. There's no action scenes. There's no octopuses or nothing. And it seems like Oni Chi Chi unironically just birthed a very popular type of anime consumption that's very just like junk food pretty much for this type of content, which is ironic because this whole content in general is junk food. So to be a junk food is kind of funny, but that's another thing for itself. So overall consensus, after watching this, I am craving the inevitable apocalyptic demise of my species, and I did not want to go on any further. Do not watch this series. Unironically, you will crave an aneurysm. Only masochistic fiends would enjoy this show. Alright guys, I don't have an outro, but if I did, it wouldn't matter because no one makes this far into the video. Good night. Shout out to TJ Blaze for being a member of this channel. If you want to be a member of this channel, you can go ahead and support me by hitting the join button. And also, you know, going up to Patreon to support me as well. I am now back at loop of thing, getting ready to get everything set up accordingly and starting to, you know, pick up the pace of everything. So we're gonna get this back in motion. I got my laptop. We're gonna keep things as they were. It might not be every like twice a week type junk like that, but it's gonna be a lot more often than every 2 weeks, right? So yeah. See you guys next time. Hopefully I'm in a better mood because this Oni Chi Chi junk is not. This is not it. This ain't it. Tell you that much. Ain't it at all.